Okay, I believe everything's up and running well. I just got me a new camera and or video cam, that is video camera, and it's supposed to be 1080p. Oh, it looks kind of blurry to me, but it might be just adjusting. It says on the box it might have time to adjust. But everything looks good, and I believe I solved my audio problems that I had last time. So figure let's just start off. As you can see on the screen, this is Fraley's World Insight vlog, and I do these every now and then just for my own benefit and others' benefit, but fun, and it keeps me motivated to read certain things too and watch the news, because I honestly believe people need to be informed, but not just informed from one source, but many sources, not just reading, but you gotta watch the liberal point of view, the conservative point of view, and all the other points of view too, and this includes CNN, the Clown News Network, or Crummy News Network, or Communist News Network, Crazy News Network, anything you put on CNN pretty well fits the mode of that station, so if you know what I mean. But also MSNBC, which is another crazy liberal network, and I even watch Newswatch. You can get the Newsmax TV, you can get that on TV too, and they're more of a conservative view. And I believe there's another one called OAN. I don't watch it very much, but every now and then I turn over on the computer and get that, look it up. But Newsmax is really good. I think it's even more conservative than Fox, the Fox News Network, which is my main source of watching for the most part. But I do like to watch others too, just to get a different insight or different view on things, even though I may not agree with it. So let's start off. As shown on my monitor or on the screen, the general election is coming up. The red wave, it's supposed to be the blue wave, because the Democrats think they're gonna take the House, and they may well do it, but I'm gonna predict that they don't. Just like what happened to Hillary Clinton, they're probably gonna be surprised, and they may get a few seats here and there, but I think the red wave will hold up pretty well and may shock and even surprise some of them. And I've been watching Real Clear Politics, and of course I don't cover every state to see who's running in every state, but if you want to know who's winning, or according to the polls, which again, I wouldn't be dead set on the polls, because they can be wrong, as they were during Trump's election in 2016. He shocked the world. And but anyway, if you really want to keep up with that, you can go to Real Clear Politics, and they have most of all the polls listed, and there's different ones in each state, and it has everybody who's running. So because I don't keep up with all that either, I just keep up with the, if I kept up with all that, I mean, I'd be busy all the time. But you can get a general idea who's winning according to the polls if you go to realclearpolitics.com on the internet. And let's see what's going on. Of course, in the general election, you got to remember who's running and what they stand for. And you have your Democrats with their liberal, crappish ideas that won't work. Socialism, by the way, that's what it is. It's crap, bull crap. It won't work. It's not working in Canada. It's not working in England or the Great Britain or the United Kingdom, whatever you want to call it over there. And if you study history, you know the difference. And I studied it, and I learned the differences. Although it's there is a difference. But you can try Scandinavia. What is it, Sweden or Norway or Finland? Some of those countries have it as well. Have socialism, and it doesn't work real well. I mean, those people, especially in England and Canada, those places, they're taxed to death. I mean, a great percentage, and you'd have to check up on that. But if you do, you'll see what I mean. I've seen it before, but I don't remember the exact numbers. But they pay way over their head in tax of what they should have to pay. I mean, if you get taxed too much, you're not gonna have much left out of your paycheck. I mean, to take home, to take care of what your family or even your own personal benefit might need. I mean, your own personal agenda. I mean, it may sound like we're cruel, and we're not compassionate, but we're just being wise and budgeting our money, because we know that unless you do that, you're just hurting yourself. And sure, we want to help people, but there are ways of doing it. We got things called churches and charities, and we've got programs. Why should they take it out of our checks to pay something? What I'm trying to say is, you don't have to give your money away to foreign nations to help them. You don't have to give your money away. You don't have to take it out of your own pocket. You don't have to have food taken off your own table just so some stranger or illegal alien can come into this country and get it where you make less money. You don't have to not be able to afford to pay your rent when it comes due on time, because you yourself will get kicked out in the street. You don't have to not be able to not pay your car payment, because if you don't have a way to go, you don't have a job, and then you don't have anything to eat. You don't have any money coming in. I mean, and you don't have to have your utilities not paid on time. They'll cut your lights and electricity and stuff off, and even if you have enough to have food on your own table, you can't cook, you can't see to cook, you can't be warm or cool in the summer. I mean, you got to be able to pay for your own stuff before you can help somebody else, don't you? I mean, that's just common sense. But some Democrats don't have any common sense. They're lacking upstairs or something wrong. And that's where this country is going way, way wrong. And so I'm through with the Obama parody of the you don't have, because I heard him say that in a speech and it's crazy. And there are other, but the general election, you better go out and vote and think about who you're voting for and what they stand for, instead of just voting for somebody because they got an idea and it sounds good, but does it actually work? If you check over in Canada and, like I said, England and Scandinavian countries and other countries where they have socialism, it's never worked. It didn't work too good in Russia. The whole system fell. Communism failed. Socialist ideas fell down the side. I ain't lying. It fell right into the depths of the deepest, darkest places that you could think of. But if you look at what Trump and the Republicans have done, and they're finally getting more unified, talking more on the more of them are getting on the same agenda. You look at what he's done for the economy. I mean, there's more jobs. The unemployment rate's way down. He's got a, what is it? Is this right? Gross domestic product growth of 3.9 or something like that. That's way better than Obama did in his 8-year stint in the White House. I mean, Obama, when he was in, he put us in a recession. And as soon as Trump got in, the first few months, the economy started getting better. The stock market rose. And it set records of stocks going up. He went overseas, and he made sure he got us out of the Iran, what was it, the Iran, that treaty we signed with them, a treaty or act or something that we signed with Iran. He got us out of that because they were actually the Nuclear Arms Act or something that we signed with them. You might want to check on that name. I forget it slips my mind at the moment, but anyway, he got us out of that, and he didn't ship planes full of money over there to give to them. He got us out of that deal, and he also got us out of a lot of things in Europe too, because he made them agree that they were going to pay their fair share for NATO, for protection. We're like I hate to say mafia out on the street, but they have to pay for their protection. And if they want our help, they got to pay their fair share. That's why we had such a bad economies, because we were giving all our money away. Not just to charities, but crap like that. They weren't, if you look through the records of those European countries, they weren't paying their fair share. So he went over there and he made them agree to pay their fair share, or he wasn't going to help them. He's going to pull away from them. And Trump's done so many other things. I mean, he's been able to, he's even started on the wall. There's some people say that he hadn't started on the wall, but he has. He started building sections on it. Yes, he's had problems getting funding to get that done, but he's going to get the funding sooner or later. And if you go out and vote on during the general election and make sure the red wave wins, then he can get more legislation through and get funding so that we can afford to build that wall and get it done, so we can straighten up the immigration mess that the Democrats, and I hate to say this, but even some of the Republicans don't seem to want to get done for some reason. Have they sold out to other nations? Has our own government sold out to other countries? I mean, have we sold our country to other countries? So Hillary Clinton did. She sold our uranium rights to Russia, 20%, if I'm right. You can check that number, but I believe it's 20%. And it's just crazy. Where did she put that money? A lot of it in her own pocket. It's just crazy what they're doing, and it's like I predicted on a few shows ago, or a few blogs ago that I did on here. There's been a bunch of migrants, and not just migrants, but there's been criminals and gang group members. MS-13 to be one of the biggest gangs in the world. I mean, they not only do they have people in prison, they've got people walking the street controlling things, and they come from those Central American countries down there. Get this back on the okay. But they got elements in those caravans that are coming up from Honduras, Guatemala, and other places, and they got those people throwing rocks at uh, the or at the cops and everybody else that's trying to control them. But they just shove their way on through. They tear the fences down. They come on through anyway. But Trump got smart. He sent like 15,000 or so troops, and there's probably going to be more sent if he needs them. And to the border to protect the border and keep these people under control. Now he's not going to shoot them unless he. And according to them, he's not supposed to be able to. We're not supposed to be able to harm those. They call themselves immigrants, but they're not immigrants. They're illegals because they're not legal to come in here. But they think they can come in here and do what they want, and they even think they have constitutional rights. Where's that come from? They're not even citizens of the United States, yet they say they have constitutional rights. And they're even they're suing. I don't know how they could sue unless they had some lawyer or some support coming from somewhere, probably on the Democratic side. But they want to sue Trump over, I believe it was the 14th Amendment, saying that they had constitutional rights or something. But maybe I should do a vlog on that, read up a little bit more and have a vlog on that. But Trump's even going to try to do away with birthright. Like if you're born here, then you're a citizen. But if the government doesn't have jurisdiction over you and your parents are from some other country, then if you ask me, if there's no jurisdiction, then you shouldn't be a citizen if you just because you were born here. I mean, if your parents live somewhere else, and there's a big conflict over that too, because if your parents live somewhere else and just come over here so their kid could be born here, that's what causes a lot of the border problems too, because the kids and the parents get separated because of that one thing. The kids can stay, but the parents have to go back, and then the government are stupid, nutso liberal democratic judges, which Trump needs to clean that mess up too, straighten the judges up. They interpret legislation the way they want to instead of then actually what it should be. And these illegal, they feel sorry for these illegals and let them join their kids. That's crazy. If they want to keep their kids and they want to keep them in their own country and take care of their country. We had our revolution. We straightened ourselves up. I mean, it took us a lot of bloodshed to do it, but if these people are, which a lot of them are, not all of them, but a lot of them are criminals and stuff coming up through there. I think they estimated there in this group of caravan individuals coming up, there's like 237 or even more criminal elements coming up with that. Yet they don't. On the Cartoon News Network, you don't ever hear about that. CNN, the Cartoon News Network, you never hear about that. You only hear about they do the sympathy thing to get people, to get into people's minds and to make them feel compassionate. Yeah, your compassion is what's going to ruin you if you don't watch it. If you're going to be compassionate about your own country, about your own people, about putting food on the table, about having a roof over your own head, about paying your bills, utilities, your rent, your car payment. Make sure you got enough money in your check each month or week or whatever it is, however often you get paid. Make sure you got enough to cover your own expenses before you cover somebody else. And to do that, you're going to have to make sure that you're not giving all your money away for taxation so that they can fund certain programs that help people that don't are not even citizens here. If I'm going to help somebody, and if I'm going to have to pay taxes, I want to help the people right here. I want to help the people that the homeless, for instance. Not all of them, because there's some of them that want to actually live homeless, want to live on the streets. But there are some that actually got put out on the streets because they didn't have a job or enough money to get by or whatever. A lot of other circumstances too. But what I'm saying is, don't give your money away and not have enough to support your own family and your own people. Do you want these illegal aliens coming up here? And are you going to pay for it? If you have a dim-witted mind, you probably you think everybody else should pay for it, but that's not right. You need to pay for it. I mean, if you're going, if you want them to come up here and want to let them thumb a ride, you might say, then you take them into your house, give them your food, and you take care of them. Why should everybody else have to suffer to help somebody that's not benefiting us? But anyway, what I'm saying is, come Tuesday, you need to get out and vote and make sure we elect the right people. You better think about who we're electing. And let me see what else. I got a few things wrote down here I wanted to talk about. Oh, there's a minimum wage conflict too. And I actually, here in Arkansas, I voted early. I voted, I think was Thursday I voted. And I actually voted for them to raise the minimum wage, not to $15 an hour though, but the minimum wage here's been like $7.25 or something like that. It's been that way for many years, so I figured maybe it might be time to go up to $9 or something, but not 15. I mean, you're going to see right now. I'll show you for instance an example. Walmart is actually more and more going to this self-scanning. I've been doing it. I've been scanning my own stuff, and a lot of times, sometimes I don't. If I'm in a hurry or something, or the lines are not too long, then I scan stuff myself and pay for it through the machine. But they're actually cutting back on cashiers and stuff, and they're not just doing it there, but they're doing it in other places too. These big restaurants, McDonald's, and I even heard one place that Wendy's was going to do that. I heard one lady talking about it. She worked there, and she told me and my wife about it. But it's going to happen more and more if they raise the minimum wage. Yeah, they'll raise the minimum wage, and everybody will be happy until they realize that they're going to start raising the prices on. What are you going to be doing, paying $10 for a hamburger? It's close to that right now. You have to pay extra to get the fries and stuff. It's getting ridiculous. I mean, I used to eat out a lot, not anymore. Now I go to Taco Bell because I can go one time and get enough what I want for $10. Well, that's a lie. I can get me and my wife something for $10, and it fills me up. I mean, I don't do that all the time because I'm thinking about my health. I want to eat good food, so now I eat a lot of chicken, drink a lot of milk, make sure I try to get my vegetables, though I need to do better on getting my vegetables. But I didn't come on here to talk about my diet and stuff. I do get my fruits too. But Trump has really done a lot in a short period of time, not even 2 years, but he's got a lot done, more than any other president. And I had somebody come on here the other night on Facebook and start saying how great Obama was, and they told me you need to do some research. What Obama did was great. Only thing I saw great about Obama was he was good at getting us in debt. What was it? It was 78 billion here for a stimulus plan, 80 billion here for a stimulus plan. He got us. He got the national debt up to 20 something trillion, 22 trillion, I believe, or 23 trillion, and he also put us in a recession. His unemployment numbers were pitiful. Employment numbers, I mean, what was it, like 7 or 8%? It was probably even more than that, because they didn't see what they did. They tried to be smart about it. They tried to fool the public, deceive the public. They only reported on the unemployment rate. They only reported the numbers of people that were actually on the unemployment roll. They didn't count the people that gave up looking for jobs and went to school or something, or bummed off their parents, lived in a basement or something. They didn't count those people. They just counted the ones that they had going in the unemployment line or something. So it was actually probably 12 to 15% people unemployed. But if you look at it now, I believe it's down to 4 or under 4 even. So Obama did a crappy job, and people want to argue about that. But if you go look at the statistics and the research, and I did my research, I read a lot on it. Believe me, I studied a lot about the economy in my life, because I studied history, and I always liked economic history the best. And I did study that. I did do my research. You better look again, lady. And actually, 2 different ladies I argued with. One of them's got a PhD, and another one was a coach. But anyway, one of them told me I needed to do my research. I even asked the one with a PhD or a doctorate or whatever, because she was a friend of mine. I went to school with her. But I even asked her what we were arguing over immigration and stuff, and I asked her, well, just what is the Democratic plan to solve that problem? She could not give me an answer. Could not give me a concrete answer. And I can give her all kinds of answers for Trump. All we got to do is just basically stop these stupid judges from their rulings. We got to that's one thing. We got to enforce the border with the wall. That's 2 things. We got to make sure that the immigrants that do come here are what you say, merit that they are educated or have skills that we need, that can benefit us, instead of being poor and living off our government and expecting us to take care of them and give them stuff. Instead, have productive people come in here that have skills, education, and knowledge, and know how to do things. Allow them to come in here, and they'll actually help our economy. That way they can find a job right off and won't have to live off our government, and we don't have to take extra or have more tax money, having to pay extra taxes to take care of these people. Let people come in here that can take care of themselves, that are educated and have been trained, or that have knowledge and have skills and know how to do things. That's the kind of people we need in here. I mean, we got enough people right now that already that's bumming off the government. We got our own people that we take care of, and some of them don't need to be, or we don't need to be getting that money. They actually are able to work, but they don't. And I'm not talking about people that can't. I'm just talking about the people that are a lot of fraud too. People get pregnant just so the government will take care of their kids. And I heard about one case where one woman she wanted to just keep on having kids. She didn't want to stop because I love my kids. Yeah, but who's taking care of your kids? The government's taking care of them. And if you can't afford them, you don't need them. And that sounds cold-hearted. I don't really have any kids, and so I'm not including myself. But I have 4 brothers, and I knew what it was like. I knew how it was tough. Times we didn't have much bread and gravy to eat, and that was about it. But we couldn't. We had to work as a family to pay for our utilities in order to be able to cook our food and stuff, and be able to see at night and keep warm, keep cool in the summer. And anyway, off me, but back on track. The immigration problem is a big thing, and Trump's the only one that seemed to actually take notice and want to do something about it. And he's trying to do it. Of course, he's having a lot of problems because of the dim Democrats and some of his idiotic Republicans like Jeff Snowflake. Is that his name? Snowflake? Jeff Flake. That was one of them. And he's also doing things about the judge because Trump realizes that it's not going to be he's not going to be able to do anything. He may be able to get some legislation passed, but then you got these stupid judges on the Supreme Court that are Democrats, liberals, communist-minded, socialist-minded people, and he's finally getting these people out. And there's some people coming in, of course. Of course, that's a lifetime appointment there. And that Kavanaugh, and they tried to make up things on him, keep him out of office, but it was all propaganda and lies. Just another Democratic strategy to have an advantage, because they know that eventually that they'll overthrow Roe versus Wade. I mean, abortion's illegal. I mean, it's not illegal now, but it will be when we get it passed and overthrow Roe versus Wade. And we got Kavanaugh appointed, and even the lady that what was her name? Was it Ford? Yeah, I think her name was Ford. Anyway, I forgot her name. Insignificant. She's not that. She just wanted news to make money off from it. She'll probably do a book or something, and because she got in the spotlight a little bit, but she made one guy's life hell, trying to destroy his career and his life and his family, making up lies. And anyway, if he can get those judges in there and he has the edge, which during his next election, the next election in 2020, if he gets elected again, which I can't see anybody beating him. I mean, there's nobody on the Democratic side that can beat him. Hillary can't beat him. No way. She might run again. Oprah probably might. Well, she said she wasn't going to run, but I don't think she could beat him either. And then you got Joe Biden, the guy that likes to, Uncle Joe, the guy that likes to stick his foot in his mouth. He don't know what he's talking about half the time. If you ask me, he's probably got some booze in his pocket, and to keep relaxed and stuff, he probably drinks a little bit to keep going. Mentally, he's probably, he said he wanted to take Trump behind a woodshed or something, behind the house and beat up on him. I think you'd have a little problem there. I think Trump can handle himself, and he might just shut your big mouth. You might not, and if you open it, he might shut it again. So, and another thing about civility. Before I get off here, let's talk about civility. these people coming on Facebook talking about civility, and they said we should be more civil. And let me tell you something. What is the First Amendment? Freedom of expression and stuff. Hey, it guarantees you the right to say pretty much what you want to within reason. I mean, you shouldn't go out using profanity and stuff, because I think that's going a little bit too far. But you should be able to say what you wanted to, even if everybody doesn't agree with it. If you keep people from saying what their opinions on stuff, then you're doing just like the socialists and the communists do. They try to censor people. And the big word for censorship in America is not censorship. It's political correctness. That's how they try to control everybody. They call it political correctness, when in actuality, all it is censorship. Just because you don't agree with it, you have a different viewpoint. And I don't agree with everything the Democrats say on TV and news and even radio and talk shows and stuff. I don't agree with them, but they have the right to say those things. But let me tell you something. I have a right to have the opposite point of view and say what the hell I want to say too. It's just a bunch of craziness. And seems like Trump and he may be a little mouthy, and I agree he's probably pretty mouthy sometimes. He probably goes a little to the extreme. But I tell you what, people want to hear this. They want to hear somebody that's taking up for their country instead of taking up for somebody else's country and trying to give our country away. If you can't see that, there's something seriously wrong with you. You're brainwashed. You've been educated from the wrong people, and the people that educate you are messed up too. They brainwashed you to think that way. And I'm talking about the people in colleges, these liberal-minded commie pinkle BS artists. They're really great at doing that. They're really persuasive. But are you bowing down and letting them control you? And they want to take away your rights and your freedoms. But are you going to allow this? If you do, that's your fault. And there is a war going on in this country. It's a cultural war, yes, over those two ideologies, simply because one person won't let the other person give their point of view. All they want to do is argue, and in the Democrat side, they do not have solutions. All they do is they just don't want to see you get your point of view across, because they don't want to have to admit that you're right and they're wrong. They can't admit they're wrong. And they don't like to eat crow. You could tell that from the election, 2016, when Trump beat Hillary. You had a bunch of them that went nuts. Even the news, the media, controlled by the dimwits. Some of them cried and everything else. And you had these people in colleges. They wanted, what was it, sympathy dog? No, not sympathy dogs. It's to get sympathy. And they cried. They wanted puppies, dogs. They even wanted crying rooms where they could get over. Some of them even think they have PTSD. Is that what it's called? That disease where a lot of people went to fight in Afghanistan and the Gulf War and all that, and they had that syndrome thing. I forget, the PTSD or something like that. Post traumatic maybe. Anyway, they had that over. They had that PTSD over Hillary losing because they couldn't believe it. And then they had to swallow their pride and eat crow, and you dang sure did. So don't be coming on Facebook and giving me the BS unless you yourself have done research. And especially the ones that are educated and are supposed to know this, don't be coming on there telling me something. Matter of fact, you got a higher degree than me. You need to start reading instead of leaning on your own pride and feeling like that somebody else. You can't admit that you're wrong, and I have a really hard time respecting people that are that way. My whole thing's that way. And people that can't admit they're wrong can never be right. Because they'll be stuck in the same bullshit all the time. They'll be stuck on the same agenda. They'll be wrong, but they'll be arguing it anyway because they don't want to admit they're wrong. So they'll never learn anything new. Now, how is that smart? That's not smart. That's not being open-minded. That's closed-minded. You can never learn anything new because you're stuck on the same wavelength. And even though you're wrong, your pride and blinds you to the truth. You can't accept the truth, so that's why you have that PTSD or whatever, and you can't accept it. But anyway, I spent quite a bit of time on here, and let me tell you something. Bravery. A lot of people have different definitions of bravery. A lot of people think they can get online and say a bunch of stuff that sounds good, and it may not actually be, may not be right, but my word is bravery. It's an easy thing to be brave when you're with others. It's easy to be brave when you got people on your side helping you and agreeing with you on your agenda, even if it's wrong because they've been brainwashed or you brainwashed them. But when your true bravery is when you stand up to the obstacles by yourself and you face your own fears and you overcome those things. When you got nobody else to turn to and you do it yourself, that's true bravery. Because you could lose, but you're willing to stand up for it anyway because you know it's right. And another thing about the bravery thing, it's brave to be open-minded and learn new things and not be stuck on the same wavelength. And because if you're stuck on the same wavelength, you're like these Democrats. They have what I call, this is my own syndrome I made up, what I'm calling them, it's called dysfunctional reality disorder. They can't see reality on the same plane as the people that are open-minded. See, you got your Democrats down here stuck on the same wavelength, and they can never get up here. They can never grow because they're stuck way down here, thinking the same thing without checking it out. Instead, they'll believe the same thing over and over and over, though it's a lie and misguided, blind leading the blind. And then you got your others up here that are open-minded, a lot taller, and they keep growing taller and taller and taller and taller. And you got these little Democrats and others, even some that claim to be with us up here, but they're down here because they keep voting on the wrong thing, stupid things. But if you're open-minded, you will keep growing up. You will grow to new levels, and you will grow higher on a, well, I hate to say totem pole, but you will get smarter, and you won't be deceived like these people are. So that's all I got to say tonight. So go out and vote Tuesday. Make sure it's the right vote. I ain't telling you how to vote, but don't be stuck down here. Get up here. Vote red. Vote with the red wave. the Republicans. Go to your state, your home, and your where you vote, and vote and be on the right wavelength. Don't be stuck way down here where you'll be stuck all your life. And the more stupid things people you vote for, you got more stupid obstacles that come with them, and that just makes it harder for the rest of us and this country to survive. And don't give your country away like these people down here, the Democrats, are doing. Go with the Reds so you can protect your country, have more money, have a job, and be able to do more things and have a better lifestyle if you want it. And that's all I got to say tonight. And so this is Fraley's World Insight Blogs signing out. And the date is 11/4/20 at 6:04. So I'm gonna sign off, and I'm gonna try to do, now that I got a new camera or video cam, I'm gonna try to do more of these. And because sometimes I get stuck and I'm not motivated to say anything, but during elections and stuff I get really motivated. I just want to see how to turn out. I'm not saying we're going to win it, but I'm going to predict we're going to win it. I think I'm going to predict, I'll put it this way, I'm going to predict we're going to surprise some people. I don't think the blue wave is going to overtake the red wave. I think the red wave will hold its own and do better than we expected. So that's what I got to say for tonight. So goodbye. The populace